The old ones are about to return in Black Ops 6 Zombies. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to COD Lore Facts, and today we've got a juicy one for you, as I believe one of the big cliffhangers coming off the end of Forsaken in Black Ops Cold War is about to get a massive payoff as early as the next zombie map, aka the Mansion. As I'm sure you know by now, the central focus of Black Ops 6 Zombies thus far has been the Requiem crew trying to track down the Sentinel artifact in an attempt to stop Richtofen and rescue Samantha from the Dark Ether, with the help of the rogue Project Janus AI, Sam. And as of the end of the tomb, it would seem they are nearing the completion of their goal, having now collected the Odin artifact from the abandoned excavation site, and are on their way to Liberty Falls in West Virginia to hand-deliver the artifact to the same AI. All is seemingly going to plan, and they may very well succeed, with the AI fulfilling its promise to bring Samantha back from the Dark Ether. Right? Wrong. As we pointed out upon the release of the tomb, as shown in the map's ending cutscene, we are for the first time so far given the perspective of the Sambot 9000, and what we see is that they have the power-ups in the maps programmed into them, confirming that the announcer, who is very clearly Zarkov, and the Sam AI are actually one and the same. There were, of course, other earlier tales that this is indeed the case, like the extreme similarity between the Sam AI appearance and that of the Forsaken containment chamber seen at the end of Cold War Zombies, and also the mere fact that Sam is behind the trial system in this game, just like Zarkov was in Cold War. Now, how exactly this works is unknown. It's very possible that the Forsaken, upon being plugged up to Sam as its power source and integrated into its system, had his memory wiped and now fully believes that he is the AI itself. That's what I personally believe is likely to be what's happening here, but either way, the main takeaway from that here is that the Requiem crew are about to walk headfirst into a massive trap, and we'll see the reveal that the same AI is actually the antagonist of the Mansion map and maybe even Janus Towers. I do also expect that we'll probably see the crew reconcile their grievances with Richtofen at some point soon, probably with Weaver finally realizing that Richtofen was the target from so long ago. That Weaver and Samantha are directly responsible for the death of Richtofen's whole family, and that being why Richtofen did what he did, resulting in a dramatic shift in priorities where Richtofen is no longer the main antagonist. I think instead, if anything, will likely end up helping him, and that the antagonist's role will shift to being Sam, among other things. And what I mean by that is, if Sam is ostensibly the Forsaken, which they totally 100% are, and if the Dark Ether still considers the Forsaken as its main ruler, which again it definitely does, as indicated by him still being the announcer, then that puts us in the position, if we go and fight Sam, whether it's in the Mansion or Janus Towers, and we kill them, suddenly this fulfills the prophecy foretold way back nearly 4 years ago in Season 6 of Cold War Zombies, where the zealot Sparagmos declares, "The devoured shall be reborn, their scattered ashes will be reformed, the Forsaken's torment will be undone when the old ones reign once more." And so with that in mind, the question now becomes, who are the old ones? Obviously at the time of them writing that, and with Vanguard just around the corner at the time, they almost certainly meant the Vanguard demons. And to a degree, it definitely still could be them to an extent. Of course, before Black Ops 6 launched, we had the data mines mentioning the skeleton of Cortifex, which I expected would probably be in the tomb considering it's a literal excavation site, but with the end cutscene we do in fact have mentioned that the mansion itself is built upon a serpent mound, which implies it is an ancient burial site, so who knows, maybe they could do something with it there. That aside, with the reception of the Vanguard demons being so poor during that year, I think there's a case to be made that overtly the old ones that's mentioned there in the Sparagmos parchment intel are now instead the Shadow Smiths, which we were first introduced to at the end of Modern Warfare Zombies. The entity in that game does say to Jansen and the Operation Deadbolt strike team in that final mission that there is another group of powerful entities out there, quote, ancient and powerful. It's entirely possible that perhaps like the Vanguard demons, the Shadow Smiths too were devoured by Zarkov at some point during his rise to power in the Dark Ether and will return whenever he is finally removed from power. Or it's equally possible that perhaps due to his reign, the Shadow Smiths simply went into hiding in the far reaches of the Dark Ether to await the day that they could finally return and take advantage of the vast power vacuum that would be left in the wake of the Forsaken if his reign were to ever end. And also, if we're assuming that the old ones mentioned there in the prophecy are being reworked as the Shadow Smiths, then what else could they potentially rework from that? Like, take for instance, if the Shadow Smiths have been alive this entire time like we just theorized, and are a part of the, quote, devoured that the ashes of shall be reformed, then perhaps this could even refer to the Requiem crew themselves, or even the OG crew if those leaks end up being true and they end up returning in time for the next game, especially considering the rumors of there potentially being an 8-player mode. Perhaps they could both be the Requiem crew and the OG characters working in tandem to fight off the Shadowsmiths. That of course all just being speculation, as we know the Requiem crew are dead by the time of Modern Warfare Zombies, but I would like to point out that Richtofen's whole thing with this game is time travel. And while his endgame with that is most likely to bring back his family, I do find it interesting that in CoD War's ending, the Forsaken outright shows the strike team that Requiem are going to die, a bit of a prophecy of his own, however one that nonetheless came true, and honestly what is that if not a form of time travel via glimpsing the future? That, in conjunction with the fact that Forsaken is being housed at the mansion in the same AI at the center of Project Janus's temporal flux division, it does indeed feel like to me like there's some kind of through line there that I can't just place my finger quite on what that could mean for the Requiem crew themselves. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comments below. But for the remainder of this video, I want to discuss what the Shadowsmiths could be. Obviously, as we know from what the entity says, they're definitely a group that has been around in the Dark Ether for a long time now, lurking in the backdrop just outside, potentially in hiding as discussed, but what are they actually, and what do they want? If you go by the leaks, it would seem that they are a group that wants to revive the Ether multiverse, and due to the end of Modern Warfare Zombies, I've even seen people theorize that they may even have something to do with Monty or the Shadow Man, based on the appearance of the shadowy figure seen in the final cutscene for that game. Though I disagree specifically with the second part there, but only the second part, and here's why. As we're told by the entity, the Shadowsmiths are specifically hunting for Jansen. In fact, this is the entire reason that the entity does what she does in that game. She's sticking around to protect Jansen from those entities, and once she's gone, she states that he'll be after you now. He, most likely being the man in shadow, aka the Shadowsmith seen in the mirror that takes Jansen. What I want to focus on there is the reasoning for the Shadowsmiths to be after her in the first place. The only thing of note that comes to mind is obviously her relation to Samantha Max's, and with that I think you have your answer for what these things desire. And in my opinion, this points towards those leaks of them wanting to harness the essence of the prior Ether for their own means. I think there's a good chance here that specifically what they want is the memories of the Ether, or what remains of it. In this story, obviously that's most directly Samantha and Eddie, as they are quite literally from the prior story. But also I think this could potentially come full circle with Prima Materia as well. Prima Materia, aka primordial material, meaning the first matter. We also know that from CoD War that Project Janus requires vast amounts of primordial ethereum, which at the end of CoD War we learn that ethereum itself is likely memories. With that in mind, what else could primordial ethereum be except extremely old memories, perhaps even the oldest in existence dating back to the end of Tagged or Toten, the memories of everything that got thrown into the Dark Ether. I think that there's a good chance that primordial ethereum and Prima Materia are actually one and the same, or at the very least extremely similar, to the point that Eddie needs one in order to be able to attain the other. Perhaps the Shadowsmiths could have a similar thing going on here with that. And at the end of the day, that's what I think the Shadowsmiths are. I think they are a tribe in the Dark Ether, now that I mention it, perhaps even the missing tribe seen in the Terra Maldicta loading screen that at some point became aware of what we, the audience, have known this entire time, but none of the characters in the story do. That there was an entire multiverse that came before all this. I think they became obsessed with this and maybe even sought to learn more about it, leading to what we'll see them as in the next game. But anyway, that about does it for this video. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a nice day.